Hey there, everybody. Today I'm going to share with you the top 5 things that I think you should be looking at when considering whether or not your child has autism. Before I get into it, I just want to say welcome to our channel. I created this space so we have a place to share our resources, our experiences, and improve the lives of families living with autism. First thing on my list is stimming. Stimming is something we all do whether we have autism or not. If you tap your foot when you're bored, or tap a pen on a table when you're waiting, or hum a song when you're doing the dishes, that's a way of stimming. It's just self-regulation. Many human beings do it. However, for autistic people, stimming tends to be a lot more obvious and happen a lot more regularly. Stimming can look like many different things for many different autistic people. For example, my son Shane, when he is upset or tired, he tends to jump up and down and hum. Some autistic people flap their hands in front of their face, some pace back and forth, some turn off and on light switches. It really just depends on the person. But if your child is stimming, you should definitely look into why you think they might be doing that. Next on the list is eye contact. Now, I know from personal experience that every child makes eye contact at different stages, and just because your child isn't making eye contact does not mean they're autistic, but it also might. So if your child is, 1 year old, 8 months old even, and not making eye contact at all or responding to their name, please go and talk to your doctor. Third on the list is looking at routines. Not just does your child like routine, none of us tend to be happy when our routine is upset, but how are they responding when the routine is changed or if there is no routine in place, especially around the age of like 2 or 3. For us, I realized that whenever Shane didn't know exactly what was happening next around 2.5, 3, it would result in like a meltdown, which was not regular. It was not exactly the way the other kids were reacting when the routine would change. So if your child is very adverse to routine change and always wanting to stick to the routine, even if it could be something else fun that's coming along, it's just change of routine is an issue, definitely consider why. Number 4 is something that I wish I would have known about earlier on. Lining up objects. When Shane was really young, as early as 2 years old, he used to line up all his objects. And I didn't know that that was a huge sign for autism. And I just thought that was the way he played. He was my first child and I didn't have a lot of other reference. And if I had have known that it was a sign of autism, I might have gotten diagnosed a little bit earlier. That's not exactly easy for me to say, but it is the truth. So please, if your child is sort of regimentally lining up objects all the time, and that's sort of like the only way they like to play or the primary way they like to play, it's definitely worth looking into why they're doing that. Talk to a professional. Number 5. For me, number 5 is very personal and close to home. It is speech delays. I noticed Shane's speech delay around between 2.5 and 3. I talked a lot to his teachers at the daycare about it. He was falling behind compared to the other kids, and he just wasn't talking, and when he couldn't talk, he acted out. And right away, I looked into getting him a speech evaluation, but it took a little bit longer than it should, and I sort of just waited on it because I really did hope and want it to be just a speech delay. I cannot recommend enough. If your child is behind in language, get even just one consultation with a speech and language pathologist. Talk to your kid's pediatrician. Don't wait and hope that it's a speech delay. It is a major sign for autism, and hopefully you can just rule autism out. But for me, that wasn't the case. We went from speech delay to a full-on autism diagnosis. It was actually the speech pathologist that I worked with that said, "Have you had him evaluated for autism?" So yes, number 5 is very important. It's very common in the autism communities. So please, if your child is having any sort of speech delay or language difficulties and it's prolonged, go and talk to a professional right away. So those are the top 5 things that I think if your child is exhibiting, you should definitely consider consulting a professional. It is meant to be a frame of reference. That list is not definitive by any means. And when you've met or experienced one person with autism, you've only experienced one person with autism. So please do not take this list as a means to just say no or yes, my child has autism. Speak to a professional. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it helped. If you think it could help somebody else, please share it or give it a like. Take care, and we'll speak soon.